A book can take you anywhere. Turn the pages and you'll be there. Come on, join us, you'll see. We're reading with Carylee.
Hi, and welcome, friends, to another Read with Carylee show. We are still in our home studio, so that means we are able to welcome another author from across the country or around the world. And you are in for a treat today. We have author Adam T. Newman with us. And Adam, where are you reading from today?
I am reading from my home here in Los Angeles, California. Now, Carylee, I want to tell you one thing. I love your glasses. And I know these are super duper cool, but I want to let you in on a little secret. These are actually not prescription. So I'm going to take them off so I can see all of your smiling faces.
Yes, thank you. And Adam is going to read for us the book, How to Catch a Cold.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why would I want to catch a cold? And why would I want to learn how? You got to get into this book. So I'm just going to hand it over to you so that you can dive right into the story. Take it away, Adam T. Newman.
Thank you. All right. Now, boys and girls, and everybody watching this right now, I wanted to tell you that my books are filled, and I mean filled with rhyming words. You guys know what rhyming words are like, right? Bat, mat, hat, sat, you get the idea. But every time you hear me, author Adam T. Newman, read you a rhyming word, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take this hand, or maybe that hand, and bring it to your ear like this, and go wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Now don't pull and yank. I don't want anyone leaving with floppy ears. Just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Be really loud. I want your mom to hear. I want your dad to hear. I want the mailman outside, the gardener, the birds flying up above. I want them all to stop and say, what's with those wiggle, wiggle, wiggles? All right, so every time you hear a rhyming word, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Without further ado, let's read my very first book, How to Catch a Cold by me, author Adam T. Newman. The school bell rings. I run to my chair. I turn to my friend Brian, but he isn't there. That's weird. Maybe as he walked to school, he fell into a hole where he's being held captive by an angry old mole. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. That was Monday. On Tuesday, when the school bell rang, I hurried to my seat. I noticed Brian was still missing, and now so was Pete. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. What could have happened? This is very, very odd. Was Pete fished out of bed by a boy fishing cod? Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. You guys are doing great. On Wednesday, Jenna and Jacob were out, and so was Philippe. Did a witch poison them with an apple that made them all sleep? I can't take it anymore. Miss Rose, Miss Rose, Miss Rose, I cry. My friends are all missing, and I don't know why. They're not at school, and I'm concerned. Have you called the police? What have you learned? Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. With a sweet, calming voice, Miss Rose smiled and said, no one's being held captive or was fished out of bed. I spoke to their parents, and I was told our friends are not missing. They just caught a cold. They caught a cold? How do you catch a cold? Does it have one eye or three? Is a cold taller or shorter or faster than me? Where do colds live? Where do they hide? Do they dwell inside cookie jars? Or on top of trash cans outside? That's just silly. After school, I ran home. Didn't even stop for a snack. I just finished my homework and prepared my attack. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. To catch a butterfly, you use a net. To catch a baseball, you wear a mitt. I'll pack an umbrella in case colds like to spit. Two, I'll take 3 jars of honey and 20 rolls of clear tape. I'll strap lint rollers to my hips and wear a flypaper cape. Let's go catch a... Actually, boys and girls, this is what I'd like you guys to do. I'd like you guys to make a really tight fist like this. I'm going to say, let's go catch a, and as hard and as strong as you can be, I want you guys to shout and say cold. Let's try it. Let's go catch a cold. I went outside to catch a cold. I searched up in a tree. I saw something moving on a leaf, but it was just a buzzing bee. Yikes! I held out my baseball mitt and looked up in the sky just as a bird flew overhead and pooped in my eye. You know, they say that's good luck. There's poop in my book. That's disgusting. I moved my search inside my house. I looked behind the drapes. I said really bold, I got you cold. But it was only a few old grapes. Or maybe they were raisins. Not quite sure what those are. In case colds were invisible, I splattered honey in the air. I even used my lint rollers to search through my dog's hair. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. But no colds were found there. I just can't seem to catch a cold. I need a plan that's new. I have an idea. Achoo! For dinner, Mommy made me a yummy grilled cheese, but every time I took a bite, I let out a big sneeze. Oh my goodness, look at that grilled cheese sandwich. It looks so perfect and delicious, and now there's a giant snot wad on there. Gross. I hope you're not catching a cold. Mommy looked at me and said, how'd she know what I was doing? Was it written on my head? What to say on this head, boys and girls? Catching a cold. By those is Tuffy. I told her. My words all sounded funny. I called my mom Bub, and my nose was very runny. What was going on with me? I seem to have some issues. Forget trying to catch a cold. I'd rather find some tissues. Wiggle. I was tired and beat. I guess I'm not catching a cold today. And I accepted my defeat. Good night, cold, wherever you are. I woke up the next morning with a billion boogers galore. My nose was super stuffy and my throat was really sore. I had a raspy voice, which made me sound old. You're staying home from school, Mom said. You caught a cold. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I caught a cold. Woohoo! Now, if only I could remember where I put it. The end. And that is the story of How to Catch a Cold, written by me, author Adam T. Newman.
Gosh. Yes. As I said, we were in for a treat with Mr. Adam T. Newman. So, okay, we have gone through all of How to Catch a Cold. So what was your inspiration to write that? This was your first book, right?
This was my very, 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 very first book. And by the way, while I was reading it, hopefully you weren't interrupted by the noise that's here. I'm actually sitting in the world's squeakiest chair. And I promise you it's the chair. And it's the chair, and it's not what's sitting on the chair. Definitely not from the bean burrito I may or may not have had the other day. So with that aside, I wanted to tell you that, you know, I speak to my kids, I speak to children from all over the country, and I let them know that memories are very important and inspiration is very important. And you could be inspired by something really, really good, but you can also be inspired by something not so good. I was actually inspired to write How to Catch a Cold after the loss of my in-laws, Mike and Lois. They were the most incredible people on this planet. And here's a little picture of them for you guys to see. This is Mike,
Aw.
and this is Lois. And I wanted to write a silly story that they would have loved to laugh and read to all of their grandchildren. And Lois was a motherly mother that would always say, "You need to put on a jacket or you're going to catch a cold." She sounded nothing like it. It's a horrible imitation, but it's just to show you it's not me, it's her. So she would say things like that. And my son, Tyler, who was really young at the time, this is what he looked like right there. He
Aw.
would get a little confused. He would think if we told him he may catch a cold, he would look up in the air and grab his baseball glove and say, "All right, I'm ready. Where is it?" So I wanted to write something that Mike and Lois would have loved to laugh and read to all the grandchildren. I even formed a company in honor of them. I took the My from Mike and the Lo from Lois and formed Milo Ink Books. And the reason I used ink books was because Lois was a calligrapher. In fact, if you open any of my books to the front page, you will see that I had a lady who used to work with Lois. Her name is Karen Gable, and she's a calligrapher. And she wrote, "This Milo Ink book belongs to," just the way Lois would have done for all the children who get to enjoy my book. So it's a very special project. And even though it was from a very sad time, I just wanted to bring giggles and smiles back to my family. I have a daughter too. I don't want to neglect her. She's in one of my other, oh, you can see her right here, the girl who lost her voice. And this is what Carylee looked like when she was younger as well. So
Oh, wow.
I started writing this to bring smiles and giggles into my family, and I hope it goes into your family. And I really want parents and grandparents to laugh and read with the children in their life. If you have a younger brother or sister, read with them. If you are the younger brother or sister, be read to, and so on. And I really, through humor, obviously I love boogers and poop jokes. I think you can.
So do my sons.
Yes. So yeah, that's how I got inspired to write it.
Okay, that is so inspiring, and you really do bring laughs and giggles to our entire audience. Now, before we go, I need to ask you, what
Sure.
inspired you? What books inspired you while you were growing up, or what was one of your favorite books?
So I have a lot, and I thought about this question. Obviously, so I had a book that to this day I still read. That's been my all-time favorite book, and I'm going to share that with you right in a second. But I will have to tell you, growing up, I love Dr. Seuss, and you could probably tell I love the rhyming words. I loved when I was younger. I used to rap. Not well, but I used to rap all the Dr. Seuss books, and part of my writing process is I actually rap to my stories to make sure it has that fun rhythm. And I could share that with you if you'd like to ever hear. But the book that was my all-time favorite is by Shel Silverstein. And I know another author mentioned this one before, and that's fine because it's such an incredible book. And that is The Giving Tree. I remember reading this for the first time when I was young, and as the pages continue, for the very first time, it was, oh, what a sweet story. This is really good. And by the end of the book, I just felt really warm inside. I loved the story that it told. I loved how all the tree wanted to do was to make the boy happy and give everything. And as a father right now, like, I feel like the tree. But before I was a father, I used to want to be like this tree. I wanted to give to others. I wanted to do everything in my power to make other people happy, because when they were happy, it was actually a gift to me because it made me feel happy. So The Giving Tree, all-time favorite book. But what inspired me to write, Shel Silverstein, of course, but also Dr. Seuss. Oh, I have a special guest. Would you like to meet my son?
Oh, absolutely.
So let me introduce to you. Here's my son. Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing. He's not here. I just wanted to. I figured I had it. So.
Oh, God. Adam T. Newman, thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for bringing laughs and giggles to us, and we loved having you on. And you're bringing that laughter and the sun from Los Angeles, California.
That's right. And I saw you wiggling. I love it. I love wiggle. Look, it says author. You know why? Because I'm the author. I'm author Adam T. Newman.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us for a hilarious Read with Carylee show. And to our audience, I love doing this show because of authors like Adam T. Newman and the other amazing authors that I am getting to read with and getting to bring to you. So remember, join us. You can find out all about Adam T. Newman in the description below. And join us again next time for another Read with Carylee show. Remember to always grab a book and read. Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody.
We're reading with Carylee. Reading with Carylee. Reading with Carylee. Reading with Carylee. Reading with Carylee.
Thanks for watching another amazing episode of the Read with Carylee show. We have amazing authors coming by every week. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe below. You don't want to miss a thing.